Today's program will pay tribute to the tens of thousands of American and Filipino soldiers who fought against and were later victorious over Japanese imperial forces on December 1941 to September 1945. To help us start these proceedings, please welcome Major General Antonio Taguba, U.S. Army retired, Chairman of the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are delighted that you can join us on this momentous event in celebrating our Congressional Gold Medal Award ceremony virtual program in honor of Filipinos and American soldiers of World War II who fought against the Japanese imperial forces in the Philippines from December 1941 to September 1945. Now, the war in the Philippines was a brutal conflict between the United States and Philippines, and between the United States and Japan, and the fall of Bataan and Corregidor on April 9th and May 6, 1942, forced the surrender of over 76,000 Americans and Filipinos who were forced in the Bataan Death March to prisoner of war camps in Cabanatuan, Camp O'Donnell, Bilibid, and other camps in the Philippines. And thousands more were held in Japanese held ships and shipped to labor camps in Korea, China, and Japan. And the heavy toll of this war was interminable, with hundreds of thousands of lives lost, thousands more were wounded for life, and hundreds are still missing in action today. For their valor and selfless sacrifice, we owe them an eternal debt of gratitude for defending our freedom and safeguarding our way of life and in the future. They gave their lives and protected the lives of our generation and the next. Today's award ceremony is our 82nd awards event following that epic day on October 25th, 2017, when the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, formally awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to 3 living veterans, represented by Mr. Celestino Almeida, a 103-year-old World War II veteran, and 3 next of kin or family members. We are honoring several veterans and their families with the Congressional Gold Medal this afternoon. Each one of them embodies the values of the military creed. They accomplished their mission, which is to never leave a fallen comrade and to never quit. In February 1946, the 79th Congress passed the Rescission Act of 1946, denying the status of active service to over 200,000 Filipino men and women, soldiers and guerrillas. It also revoked their promised benefits and took away their opportunity to become American citizens. Now, this created a lifetime of indignation and injustice that still lingers to this day. But the undeniable proof is that 57,000 soldiers were killed in action, thousands more were wounded for life, and thousands missing in action. That these brave people did exist, an irrefutable and profound historical fact. For the recipients of the Congressional Gold Medal, this medal symbolizes your family's history to memorialize the selfless sacrifice of your father, your grandfather, your uncle, brother, sister, your aunts, your mother's desperate and courageous experience to defend and protect their lives so their generation can live today and in the future. The Congressional Gold Medal is the highest award Congress can bestow to a group or individuals who performed outstanding achievements that has an impact on American history and culture. The presentation of the Congressional Gold Medal to the recipients today is a once-in-a-lifetime event that will be remembered in perpetuity in your family's history. Let me now present a short video of this unknown and lesser-told American history.
I think that oftentimes you get written out of history when you're not the one doing the writing.
World War II happened in many other places, and my grandma was one of those people who experienced that, and why have I never heard anything about the Philippines during the war?
No one talks about the Filipinos who were there, much less the fact that we took away their service afterwards. It's sort of a second-class kind of narrative about World War II.
All of the promises that they were made to fight were taken away from them, right? U.S. citizenship, benefits conferred on both themselves, on their spouses. I mean, you can't help but feel like a part of you has been taken away.
If they rob you of your honor and betray you on a promise that was made to you, they don't pay you and then they discount you. That's hard. You know, it's tantamount to being non-existent.
December 7th, 1941.
December 8, 1941.
A date which will live in infamy.
The war broke out in the Philippines.
Pearl Harbor is not just an attack on one base in Hawaii, it's also an attack on the Philippines.
The president, realized that, hey, we're not going to win the Pacific if we don't enlist the help of the Filipinos that are there.
And he says, basically, you are all now in the service of the United States. Filipinos and Americans marching together into the same forces under the same flag. When the Japanese invade and conquer the Philippines, those forces disintegrate. But that doesn't mean that they stop fighting. That many of them recruit new soldiers into guerrilla armies.
Most people don't know that the Philippines is, outside of Poland, the most devastated Allied country. It is destroyed by World War II.
Roosevelt promised that if you fight under the U.S. flag, they were promised that they would be treated just like any American veteran. Well, that didn't happen.
The Rescission Act is, at heart, a broken promise. The Rescission Act is really one of the worst things Americans have ever done to the people who have served them.
I thought it would be easy to get their benefit, but I found out as a USAPI veteran, you are a second-rate citizen.
Why were Filipinos singled out? Among the 66 nations that were part of the Allied forces, Filipinos were singled out to be deprived of their rightful benefits. Why?
After the Rescission Act was passed in 1946, there were critics who tried to get it repealed. President Harry Truman said, "This does not relieve us of our moral obligation to Philippine veterans."
There was a couple Supreme Court cases. They were trying to get some benefits and the court ruled against them. I had suggested to the senator that maybe we try and do some kind of legislation.
When I came to Washington, I discovered that there were living veterans, and I was really moved by the fact that these are veterans in their 60s, 70s, marching the halls of Congress.
Many of them went on symbolic hunger strikes, and many of them chained themselves to the White House. These are the tactics of political action, of civil disobedience that they are learning from the civil rights movement.
Could you imagine that, being like, 70, 80 years old, and you believe so much in what you're fighting for, that you're willing to handcuff yourself to the gates of the White House knowing that you will be arrested?
What they really wanted was an official recognition by the United States government that they served under the U.S. flag, that they exist, that they mattered, that they fought side by side with American soldiers, and yet after the war was over, they were forgotten, like as if they never existed.
This is a Congressional Gold Medal awarded to Filipino World War II veterans.
The Congressional Gold Medal is one of our oldest traditions here in the Capitol.
The 260,000 Filipino men and women who fought under the American flag were vital to the Allied victory. Today, we commemorate their service and remember their sacrifice.
Congress responds when the people tell them what to do. Sometimes they don't, but in this case, it took more than 40 years. And I think it's a lesson. Anytime there is a cause that is worth fighting for, if you don't speak up, if you don't organize, and you don't let Congress know loud and clear that what they're doing is wrong, then nothing is ever going to happen.
There were over 260,000 Filipino troops that fought, and by the time we get to 2016, 17, there's like 18,000 left and dying daily.
I think most people, by and large, assume that we live in a country where a government does right by our people. Yet, when we uncover the story, it's a story that we need to remember so that we can remain vigilant.
That story is not going to be told unless we do this education project. And we committed ourselves to making sure that that story also becomes enshrined in American history, much like the Navajo Code Talkers, much like the Japanese American Nisei soldiers, much like the African Americans who fought during the Civil War, because this story is part of American history.
Attention to orders. In accordance with Public Law 114265, the Filipino Veterans of World War II Congressional Gold Medal Act of 2016, the following veterans are awarded the Congressional Gold Medal for their intrepidity and indomitable courage against a brutal enemy in defense of the Philippines and United States from December 8, 1941 to December 31st, 1946. Today, the following Filipino and American veterans will be awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. Justo P. Dudulao, Jesus de Guzman, Jacinto de Leon Sr., Augustin Abella, Jacob Abregas, Arturo Balagot, Fernando Baltazar, Corazon Baquiran, Chester Britt, Claro Bueno, John Boutin, Regino Cabio, Fulgencio Capistrano, Conrado Castroverde, Andres Cervantes, Leon Cordero, Vespasiano Daguiwag, Balvina Espinelli, Evans Ramirez Garcia, Fox L. Hall, Felicimo Herrera, Evaristo Ibalio, Estanislao Yames, Juan Martinez, Angel Masankay, John Mirabal, Solomon Paquin, Alfred Polintan, Alfredo Quijano, Marcelino Reyes, Frederick Slicky, Isabelo Viernes, John Zubricki, Private Justo P. Duldulao served with the Philippine Guerrilla and USAFI on March 15, 1945 until November 15, 1945, after recuperating from a gunshot wound. He is honored to receive the Congressional Gold Medal along with his family.
Private Justo P. Dudulao joined the Philippine guerrilla in combined services on March 15, 1945. During World War II, he served with F Company, 2nd Battalion, 15th Infantry, Yusuf 5th in Northern Luzon, Philippines. He served the unit until November 15, 1945, after recuperating from a gunshot wound from an enemy rifle.
Greetings to everyone. On behalf of our father, Private Justo P. Dudulao, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veterans of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Jesus R. de Guzman enlisted as a guerrilla and a teenage spy in a Japanese garrison in Pandacan, Manila from 1942 to 1945. After the war, he graduated from high school, then pursued a career in agricultural engineering. He married Lydia Santos and had 11 children, 19 grandchildren, and 19 great-grandchildren. At 94, he suffers from Alzheimer's and his memory is slowly deteriorating, but the memory of his service in World War II will never be forgotten.
In behalf of Tatay Jesus de Guzman, a guerrilla, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Sergeant Jacinto S. De Leon, Sr., joined the Philippine Army on June 9, 1943. He was assigned with Q Company, 4th Battalion, Hunters ROTC, Bacoor, Cavite. He was honorably discharged on February 19, 1946. He is 96 years old and thankful for this honor along with his family.
It is a great honor to accept this Filipino veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal. Thank you.
On behalf of our father, Sergeant Jacinto S. De Leon Sr., we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Thank you.
Congratulations, Tatay! We love you!
Congratulations, Tatay! We're proud of you, Tatay!
Congratulations, Tatay! We're so proud of you and we love you!
Master Sergeant Agustin Abella served with 12th Quartermaster Regiment, 12th Infantry Division, Philippine Scouts, at Port Area, followed by Quezon City, Limay, and Cabcaban as a truck master and first sergeant. His unit surrendered to the Japanese on April 9, 1942, in defense of Bataan. Having been captured, he evaded the Japanese on 3 separate occasions, to later join Colonel Dizon's detachment of General MacArthur's guerrillas as a captain. Following World War II, he continued to serve in the 1st and 515th Military Police Battalions. After close to 30 years of service to both the United States and Philippines, Master Sergeant Abella retired in 1949. Emigrating to the United States shortly thereafter, he died peacefully in 1994. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on behalf of his grandnephew, Lieutenant Colonel John R. Abella, Jr., United States Army.
On behalf of our great uncle, Master Sergeant Agustin Abella, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Sergeant Jacob Abergas served in the U.S. Armed Forces Far East, USAFE, from November 23, 1941 to April 15, 1950. After World War II, he continued his service with the Philippine Army and earned a law degree from San Beda College. In 1993, he moved to Los Angeles to join his children. He died on November 30, 2007. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf are his sons, Joshua, Jacob, and Celestino Abergas, daughters Dolores de la Cruz, Teresita Abergas, Josephine Reyes, Gloria Palahadia, and Ana Maria Panilan.
On behalf of our father, Sergeant Jacob De Leon Abergas, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Our father loves both the Philippines and the United States of America, while our heart aches for the endure as a prisoner of war following the Bataan death march.
We are also incredibly proud of his accomplishment throughout his military service with the Philippine Army and the United States Armed Forces of the Far East.
After rightfully earning the Philippines Liberation Ribbon and the Philippine Defense Ribbon, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, and the American Liberation Ribbon, we are filled with pride to accept the Congressional Gold Medal for his service during World War II.
His legacy lives on through his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren throughout the Philippines, the United States, and Canada.
Arturo Balagot was part of the Filipino guerrilla forces in Luzon, Philippines, between 1942 to 1945. Private First Class Arturo Balagot enlisted in the regular United States Army on August 23, 1946, and honorably discharged on February 15, 1949. He enlisted in San Juan, La Union, Philippines, and was part of Company I, 44th Infantry Regiment. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf are his sons, Arthur, Moises, Carlos, and Joseph Balagot. Daughters Vicia Casuga, Belinda Sigunte, and Cleofe Gibote. And granddaughter Cherish Jade Balagot.
On behalf of our Father,
on behalf of our Father,
on behalf of our Father,
on behalf of our Father, on behalf of our Father,
on behalf of our Father,
on behalf of our Father,
on behalf of our grandfather,
and his service rank, we are honored
to receive
the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal
for his honorable service,
the selfless sacrifice.
Corporal Fernando Baltazar served with the United States Army and Philippine Scouts beginning in 1923 and was killed in action on the battlefield of Bataan. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his grandson, Greg Baltazar Timbol.
On behalf of my grandfather, Corporal Fernando Ruiz Baltazar of the United States Army, Philippine Scouts, we are honored to receive the Filipino veterans for World War II, the Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. His service starts back in 1923. He served with 6 honorable enlistment, and he was killed in action in the battlefield of Bataan, and his headstone located in Arlington National Cemetery, Section MK, Grave 81. Thank you so much, Mabuhay.
Major Corazon Baquiran, MD, served with the 12th Infantry Regiment, USAFE, from September 1st, 1941 to June 10th, 1946. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his son, Enrico Baquiran.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Enrico Baquiran, and I'm the son of the late Dr. Corazon Baquiran of Lawag, Ilocos Norte. My father was a medical officer with the rank of major during the war. He was assigned at Camp John Hay Hospital for the 12th Infantry Regiment of USAFE. On behalf of our family, we are proud and honored to receive this U.S. Congressional Medal of Honor for his honorable services and selfless sacrifice during World War II. Thank you.
Major Chester K. Britt, U.S. Army retired, entered West Point in 1936, graduated in 1940, and served in the Philippines from 1940 to 1945. During World War II, then First Lieutenant Britt served with the 92nd Coastal Artillery on Fort Wint, evacuating 155mm artillery guns to engage the battle near the Abucay defensive line on Bataan. There he served with the 301st Field Artillery Regiment, Philippine Army, as Battery A Commander. He became a prisoner of the Japanese at Mariveles on April 9, 1942. He survived the Bataan Death March, 6 prison camps, and 3 hell ships being transported to Japan. He was rescued by U.S. Overseas Strategic Services, OSS, paratroopers in August 1945 and evacuated by air to the 312th Army Hospital in the Philippines. Following World War II, he was promoted to major and served as commander of the 384th Alpha Alpha Headquarters Battalion. He transferred on February 1947 to the Army Ordnance Department at White Sands Missile Test Range, where he worked on the V-2 rocket development. He was medically retired in August of 1950 following a stroke and died on July 6, 1953. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his son, Lieutenant Colonel David L. Britt, U.S. Air Force retired, daughter-in-law Gail Britt, granddaughter Lindsay Doss, grandson-in-law Lieutenant Gary Doss, U.S. Navy retired, great-grandsons Dylan and Grant Doss.
On behalf of Major Chester K. Britt, we're honored to receive the Filipino veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Clara Bueno joined the guerrilla movement in Ilocos and Cordillera region in 1942. He was captured in Bataan and survived the infamous Death March. After the war, he continued serving with the Philippine Army, retiring in 1968 with the rank of colonel. He died on May 13, 2015, at the age of 98 in Los Angeles, California. His son, Colonel Jose Bueno, U.S. Air Force retired, accepted the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf. Staff Sergeant John Boutin enlisted in the U.S. Army on May 3, 1944, and was later assigned with Charlie Company, 738th MP Battalion in the Philippines from September 6, 1945 to September 13, 1946. He was a supply sergeant and received numerous campaign ribbons and medals to include the Philippine Independence Ribbon, World War II Victory Medal, and Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal. He died on June 23, 2016. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his daughter, Nancy Boutine Steek, and son, Colonel Retired Jack Boutine.
On behalf of our father, Staff Sergeant John B. Boutine, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veterans of World War II Congressional Gold Medal. This was given to my father for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. One of my father's greatest achievements in his life was his service to his country.
Corporal Regino Gabio served with the U.S. Army Infantry. He died in 1981. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his grandson, Lito Gabio.
On behalf of my grandfather and the service rank, I am honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Fulgencio Evangelista Capistrano Sr. joined the Philippine Army on December 9, 1939. During World War II, he served with the Camarines Sur Cadre and continued to serve after the war until August 15, 1948. He died on November 28, 2006. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf is his oldest son, Fulgencio Valenzuela Capistrano Jr., and his wife, Lilia, his granddaughter, Lynn, with her husband, John, their sons, Mikaleb and Maddox, grandson, Floyd, with his wife, Christine, and their children, Ethan and Paige, and great-great-granddaughter, Leilani, with her mother, Rosie.
On behalf of my father, Fulgencio Evangelista Capistrano Sr., Sergeant, Philippine Army, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Conrado Castroverde joined the Philippine Scouts in 1941 and survived the Bataan Death March during World War II. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are Corazon Jokno, Celeste Scroggins, and Cesar Castroverde, along with the entire Castroverde family.
On behalf of our father, Corporal Conrado V. Castroverde, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Maraming salamat po.
Technical Sergeant Andres Cervantes served in the Philippine Army Air Corps and then was inducted into the USAFE on August 15, 1941. During World War II, he served with the Philippine Army Air Corps in Bataan, was a prisoner of war at Camp O'Donnell, then served with the guerrilla forces and Phil-American irregular troops in Manila, until August 29, 1945. Following World War II, he continued to serve in the Philippine Army Air Corps in Lipas, Batangas until July 11, 1947. Mr. Cervantes passed away on June 25, 1984. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his son, Socrates Cervantes, granddaughter Eileen Bajet, and grandson, Fernando Senco.
On behalf of my father, Technical Sergeant Andres Cervantes, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Thank you.
Leon Velasquez Cordero was born on December 17, 1920, in Manila, Philippines. He received his pre-medical degree from Ateneo University de Manila, but his medical studies were interrupted by World War II. He served courageously with the USAFI and survived the Bataan Death March. He continued to work with the military to support his wife and 4 children until he graduated from the University of Santo Tomas. He completed his specialty training in OB/GYN and general surgery at the St. Barnabas Hospital in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He practiced his specialties in the Philippines and Nigeria before retiring in California. He died on December 21, 1993. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf is his son, Dr. Reynaldo Cordero. Vespasiano Daguag was a corporal of the U.S. Army 45th Infantry Regiment, Philippine Scout, during World War II. He was a casualty of the Battle of Points in Bataan on January 28, 1942. He received the Bronze Star and Purple Hearts awards. He is buried at the Manila American Cemetery. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf are his daughters, Fermintia Chongtuco and Georgina Diego, grandson Armand Fernandez, and great-grandchildren Amado, Andrea, and Adrian Guloy. Balvina Nazarino Espinelli served with the Taparan Guerrilla Medical Unit.
My name is Reynaldo Espinelli. I currently reside in Hong Kong but grew up in San Diego, California. On behalf of my mother, Balbina Nazareno Espinelli, my father, Heliodoro Espinelli, my family, my brother Christopher Espinelli and his family, I would like to thank Sonny Busa and the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project led by Major General Tony Tacuba, U.S. Army retired, for this honor and recognition of my mother's service and sacrifice. She was born on January 9, 1926 in Naik, Cavite, Philippines. She passed away on December 10, 2016 in San Diego, California. During World War II, she was a member of a Philippine Commonwealth Army guerrilla medical unit recognized by the U.S. military engaged in active insurgency and guerrilla warfare, operating in Naik, Cavite for the liberation of her people. This medal is a symbol paid for by the untold blood and sacrifice of so many. It is the symbol of a proud people, fighting by any means necessary to remove an occupying army. We can never fully appreciate the sacrifices they made and the hardships that they endured. We can, however, continue to honor them, never forget them, and express our heartfelt gratitude for their service and sacrifice. On behalf of my mother, my father, my family, my brother and his family, we would like to express our heartfelt thanks and gratitude for this great honor.
Evans Ramirez Garcia served with the New Mexico Army National Guard from April 4, 1941 until May 27, 1946. He died on January 29, 2011. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his daughter, Margaret Garcia.
On behalf of my father and his service rank, I am honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
First Lieutenant Felicissimo M. Herrera joined the Philippine Army on November 17, 1941. During World War II, he served with 2nd Regular Division in Bataan and subsequently the guerrillas in Manila. He served with the 2nd Regular Division until April 9, 1942, and the guerrillas until June 7, 1945. He died on January 9, 2000. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf are his son, Master Sergeant Retired Roberto K. Herrera, U.S. Air Force, granddaughter Captain Maribel C. Dilks, U.S. Air Force, and grandson Dr. Christopher J. Herrera, DDS.
On behalf of my father, First Lieutenant Felicissimo Herrera, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Vox Leggett Hall joined the U.S. Army Cavalry in 1941. During World War II, he served with the 27th Bombardment Group on Corregidor Island in the Philippines until the U.S. surrender of the Bataan Peninsula on April 9, 1942. After surviving the Bataan Death March, BL died in the Cabanatuan Japanese prison of war camp on December 3, 1942. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his brother, L.M. Hall, accompanied by his wife, Wanda Hall, and daughter, Janice Greeno.
On behalf of our uncle and brother, Private Vox Leggett Hall, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Evaristo Ibalio joined the Philippine Army on December 12, 1941. During World War II, he served in the 11th Division, USAFE, until August 31, 1942. Following World War II, he continued to serve the guerrilla service from December 26, 1944 to March 29, 1946 for USA FIP in northern Luzon. He died on January 18, 2020 in Roseville, California. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is one of Evaristo's 7 children, Claire Ibalio Alcisco, along with her husband, Jose Martin, and their children, Leo and Lizelle.
On behalf of my father, Evaristo Ibalio, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Thank you, Papa.
Sergeant Stanislao Yames served with USAFE K Company 43rd Infantry Regiment, 41st Division from December 8, 1941 to June 10, 1944. He survived the Bataan Death March, 2 concentration camps, and disability from leg injuries suffered during the battle and fall of Bataan. After World War II, he retired from the Army. Having lost his scholarship at the University of the Philippines when he joined the Army, unable to continue his college education, being disabled after the war, and losing his first wife during the war, he did odd jobs and ventured into small businesses. He married his second wife shortly after the war and together raised 8 children. He died on February 9, 1999. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his son Roberto Yames, daughters Nora Gamboa, Myrna Mills, sons and daughters-in-law Edgar Gamaliel, Carmelita Gamaliel, Maddie Gamboa, and Walter Mills.
On behalf of our father, Stanislao Raviel Llames, Sergeant K Company, 43rd Infantry Regiment, 41st Division, we are honored and humbled to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Thank you.
We would also like to thank the officers and members of the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project for your tireless efforts over the years to bring this special recognition for our heroes, the Filipino-American World War II veterans. We are humbled and honored to be part of this special project. Thank you.
Corporal Juan Soriano Martinez joined the Philippine Scouts on April 16, 1923. During World War II, he re-enlisted at Fort Stotzenburg and was assigned to Detachment Quartermaster Corps Philippine Scouts. He was honorably discharged in 1945 at the 5th Replacement Depot in Manila with the rank of Technician, 5th grade. Following World War II, he re-enlisted in Manila and continued his service until his active duty retirement in 1948. He then transferred into the Enlisted Reserve Corps, U.S. Army Reserves until 1956, when he immigrated to San Francisco, California. He died on May 10, 1999, shortly after his 95th birthday. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his daughter, Jeanette McComb.
On behalf of my beloved father, Corporal Juan Martinez, and his proud service of 30 years with the Philippine Scouts and the U.S. Army Reserves, on behalf of my sister, my brothers, the entire Martinez family that could not be here with me, I, along with my husband and my son, am honored and deeply humbled to receive the Filipino Veteran World War II Congressional Medal for his honorable service and his selfless sacrifice.
First Lieutenant Angel Masankay served with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, United States Armed Forces in the Far East, and was a paraglider for the 11th Airborne in Tagaytay City from 1941 to 1954. He lived to be 100 years old. He died during the COVID-19 pandemic in August 2020. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal on his behalf are his daughter, Carmelita Gudanan, granddaughter, Rin Shoemaker, and Prilijin Manawis, great-grandchildren, Aaron Colina and Logan Choi.
To the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project.
Although my father is no longer living to accept this award, our family is incredibly humbled by this honor.
So on behalf of my grandfather, Angel Santos Masankay, First Lieutenant of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, United States Army Forces in the Far East, paraglider for the 11th Airborne in Tagaytay City.
Our family is grateful to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal in recognition of his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Thank you.
Chief Master Sergeant John J. Mirabal, U.S. Army retired, joined the U.S. Army on October 30, 1940. During World War II, he served with the 60th Coastal Defense Manila 60th Coastal Artillery Battery, K, in Corregidor after the Bataan Death March. He was kept in Bilibid prison at Camp O'Donnell until shipped aboard the hell ship Metimaru to the Japanese POW camp Fukuoka No. 17 in Osaka, Japan. He was liberated on September 2, 1945. Following World War II, he enlisted with the U.S. Air Force for another 20 years. He died on June 15, 2001 in Fort Bliss, Texas. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are son, Alfred Tom Mirabal, a Vietnam War veteran, and his wife, Gloria.
My name is Alfred T. Mirabal, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we're on the Bataan Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And on behalf of my father, John J. Mirabal, Master Sergeant, Chief Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, we are honored to receive this prestigious gold medal from the WW2 and the defense of Manila, Bataan, and Corregidor. And on behalf of all ex-POWs and defenders of America, of the Philippines, we are proud to accept this prestigious medal.
Solomon Castro Paquin Jr. joined the U.S. Army on November 27, 1944. He served with the 121st Infantry at the 2nd Hospital Company in Burgos, Ilocos Sur, Philippines until November 26, 1947. He died on April 24, 2003 in Houston, Texas. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his daughters, Maria Lourdes P. Narcisco and Maria Lea P. Manalo.
On behalf of our father, Private Solomon Castro Paquin Jr., we are honored to receive the Filipino veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. In behalf of our family, we all thank you.
Sergeant First Class Alfred Gordilio Polintan enlisted with the U.S. Army on August 28, 1941. He escaped from the Bataan Death March on April 1942. He then joined President Quezon's own guerrilla unit from 1942 to 1945. Following World War II, he was stationed in various locations from 1945 to 1966. Sergeant Politan died on August 27, 1981 in Tucson, Arizona. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are Reverend Father Alfred Theodore Worth Polintan, Suzanne Gagne Polintan, Alfred Gordilio Polintan, and Maria Cristina Asser-Lechner.
On behalf of my father, Sergeant First Class Alfred Gordillo Polintan, U.S. Army retired, we are honored to receive this Filipino veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Master Sergeant Alfredo Quijano enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1933 and was assigned to the 57th Infantry Division, Company E, Philippine Scouts. He distinguished himself in the Battle of Abu Ghai, suffering battle wounds and earning a Silver Star as well as the Purple Heart medals for his heroic actions and subsequent wounds in the line of duty. He was among the 75,000 U.S. and Filipino soldiers that were captured and forced into one of the greatest tragedies of modern warfare, the Bataan Death March. Following World War II, Master Sergeant Quijano was transferred to Fort Sam Houston, San Antonio, Texas in 1949. He served for 34 years in the U.S. Army, retiring as First Sergeant of the 250th General Hospital, 37th Medical Battalion, Fort Sam Houston, Texas in 1967. After active duty, he served as the VA counselor for St. Philip's College until his retirement. Among his medals and decorations, Master Sergeant Quijano holds the Silver Star Medal, Bronze Star Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Good Conduct Medal with 6 clasps, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, American Defense Medal, World War II, Philippine Defense Medal, World War II, Philippine Liberation Medal, World War II, Prisoner of War Medal, and Combat Infantry Badge. He was very active in the San Antonio Filipino community and was a founding member of the Filipino Americans in San Antonio Association, FISA, and elected their first president in the late 1960s. His family proudly accepts the Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. Marcelino Nolasco Reyes Sr. served with the Philippine Commonwealth Army from December 17, 1941 to June 30, 1946. He was stationed in Mindanao from December 17, 1941 until May 11, 1942, when Mindanao surrendered. He was later stationed with the 1st Replacement Battalion in Leyte. Following World War II, he stayed with the Armed Forces of the Philippines Army Service Branch until his retirement on November 22, 1959. He served in various capacities, fighting the Huk insurgencies in central Luzon, Camlon-led insurrection in Sulu, and G4 quartermaster service in Camp Lapu-Lapu, Cebu. He died on March 17, 1962. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his surviving children, Marcelino Reyes Jr., Maria Rafinan, Maria Portos, Antonio Reyes, Procopio Reyes, and May Pascual.
I am Marcelino Reyes Jr., representing here today my 4 brothers and 3 sisters. On behalf of our father, Marcelino Nolasco Reyes Sr., Second Lieutenant in the Philippine Commonwealth Army, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. The family has always been proud of our father's wartime service. He answered the call of his country on December 17, 1941, at a time when his country needed him most, a mere 3 weeks after he and our mother had their wedding. He served with valor in Mindanao and in Leyte. We thank the U.S. Congress for recognizing his valor and heroic service to the Philippine Commonwealth Army in the service of the Armed Forces of the United States.
Staff Sergeant Fred Schlicke, Sr., joined the United States Army and was assigned to the 151st Infantry Regiment, 38th Infantry Division in Leyte and Luzon from 1944 to 1946. He died on April 10, 2008. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his son, Fred Schlicke, Jr., and his granddaughter, Lieutenant Commander Gretel Kinney, U.S. Coast Guard.
My name is Fred Schlicke, Jr. My father was Staff Sergeant Fred Schlicke, Sr., and I'm accepting this medal on his behalf. He was with the 151st Infantry Regiment of the 38th Division. They were involved in operations and engagements against the Japanese all throughout central Luzon. At Zigzag Pass, they secured Wawa Dam, and they were involved with the sealing off of the Bataan Peninsula and the retaking of Corregidor. My father lived to be 95 years old, and he was an icon to me and my brothers. And in his service, we feel as though he not only served his country, but he served his fellow man. And in doing so, we feel that international justice was never better served. I want to thank the entire CGM for this opportunity and for this fine medal in behalf of my father. Thank you kindly.
Isabelo Liaño Viernes was a career Philippine scout for the United States Army, enlisting on September 5, 1914, and retiring on June 30, 1947, with the rank of Technical Sergeant. During World War II, he served with the 45th Infantry Regiment, Philippine Scouts, Company D, in defense of the Bataan Peninsula, and survived the Bataan Death March and subsequent imprisonment at Camp O'Donnell. He was with the 45th Infantry Regiment until October 11, 1945, having served 26 years in the same unit. Following World War II, he continued to serve in various Philippine Scout detachments until his retirement. His Army career spanned 33 years and both World Wars. Tech Sergeant Viernes died on December 12, 1973. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal are his daughter, Caridad Adukayen, and her husband, retired Ambassador George Adukayen. Grandchildren, Eleanor Pascual, George Edward Adukayen, Master Sergeant Janet Munoz, U.S. Air Force, Lieutenant Terrence Perran Viernes, U.S. Navy, and great-grandson, Major Alejandro Pascual IV, U.S. Army.
Hello, my name is Major Alejandro Viernes Pascual, and on behalf of my late great-grandfather, Technical Sergeant Isabelo Liano Viernes, his only surviving child, Caridad Viernes Adukayen, and the over 100 living direct descendants of Sergeant Viernes, we are honored to receive the Filipino Veterans of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice. We'd like to thank the Filipino Veterans Recognition and Education Project for their tireless mission to ensure that the service of heroes like Sergeant Viernes are not forgotten. Thank you.
John Zubricki later changed his name to John Zale in 1950. He joined the U.S. Army on February 14, 1940. During World War II, he served in the Philippine Islands with the 31st Infantry Regiment, Company C, also known as the Polar Bear Regiment. He was wounded in action on January 21, 1942, during the Battle of Bataan while defending the Abukay Line. He survived the Bataan Death March and was a prisoner of war for 3.5 years, interned at Camp O'Donnell, Cabanatuan, and Bilibid. He was transported on the hell ship Totori Maru to Mukden, Manchuria, China, where he was a POW in Camp Houghton. In Mukden, he was a human guinea pig for human experimentation as part of Japan's diabolical biological warfare unit 731. Following the war, he was the Boy Scout leader of Troop 192 with the goal to teach young boys about patriotism and survival skills. He also volunteered for 4,253 hours at the VA hospital in Buffalo, New York, calling on fellow veterans. Accepting the Congressional Gold Medal is his daughter, Karen Zale, who wrote a book called The Will to Survive, which tells his story of the Bataan Death March and what he endured as a prisoner of war. All proceeds from the sale of the book are donated to assist veterans dealing with PTSD through WNY Heroes Incorporated.
On behalf of my father and his service rank, I am honored to receive the Filipino Veteran of World War II Congressional Gold Medal for his honorable service and selfless sacrifice.
Congratulations to the recipients of the Congressional Gold Medal. We have awarded over 3,000 medals thus far, and the hope is to award up to 5,000 more to the remaining living veterans in the next few years. It is unfortunate that most of the living veterans have passed or will pass away before we can honor them with the Congressional Gold Medal. We will try to reach out to their families on email, Facebook, or through our website, www.philvetrep.org. U.S. Congress only provided funds for a single Congressional Gold Medal. The bronze replicas presented to the family members were purchased with donations from generous donors and sponsors. To our guests watching today, we humbly request for your generous donations so we can continue to purchase additional bronze replicas from the U.S. Mint and to keep our award presentations ongoing. We need and appreciate your support. Your donations are tax exempt, and the link to donate is right here.
To the heroes and families we honor today, we thank you and your loved ones. The incredible stories of the veterans and families are now recorded, and we'll post them on our website, www.philvetrep.org. There's no greater honor and respect America can bestow to soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and Coast Guardsmen. As their children and grandchildren, today's award presentation demonstrates our pride and honor for their selfless sacrifice so we, as future generations, can live and prosper in this country. Our program at PhilVet Rep goes beyond the awarding of the Congressional Gold Medal to veterans and families. We created, in November 2020, an online education program titled Duty to Country, A Broken Promise. We needed to create this program as the voices of the Filipino and American veterans with their families for them to be remembered for generations. This education program is one of its kind that tells the untold story and details of the relationship of the United States and Philippines since 1898 to this current contemporary period. For more information, you can go to www.dutytocountry.org for more information. Finally, my personal thanks to everyone who planned and organized this program, and without whom this event would have not been possible.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this afternoon. Our job is not done. We hope that you will consider investing in the programs that support the veterans and their families and provide for the educational opportunities that PhilVet Rep have initiated. If you can, please donate using the link on your screen. Please stay safe with your loved ones. Thank you. We thank you all, courageous American heroes and their dedicated families. Hua!